Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? 3 weeks from yesterday, the NFL draft will get underway. The Saints have 2 first-round picks. 3 weeks from today, though, could be very pivotal for the Saints. Of course, as they have a second-round pick and they have a third-round pick as well. And I think that's going to tell us an awful lot about when the Friday of the draft is done. We will know a tremendous amount about what the Saints roster for 2022 is going to look like and what their long-term plans are. Are they planning to draft a left tackle? Are they going to use a first-round pick on a wide receiver? Are they going to go safety? If not, are they looking in free agency for safety or for, we've talked so much about Tyrann Mathieu, or for a left tackle, or for a defensive lineman? It's going to be so interesting to see. Do they use this draft to address quarterback? Yesterday on the show, we talked about some projections of middle round picks for LSU, or for the, I say middle round picks, third round picks. There was one projection that had the Saints using a second round pick, and another that had the Saints using a third-round pick on Carson Strong out of Nevada. So that might be a little more palatable if that player is there. Sam Howell was the projected second-round pick out of North Carolina, who at one point was a number one overall candidate in the way too early mock drafts before this past season. Well, Adam Schefter on Friday tweeted that Ole Miss quarterback Matt Corral has scheduled visits for next week with the Panthers, the Eagles, the Steelers, the Falcons, and your New Orleans Saints. So that's the 3 teams in the NFC South that aren't quarterbacked by Tom Brady, and the Eagles and the Steelers. So I will say that for 2 reasons, this makes a lot of sense. Number one, of course, you do your due diligence on every prospect. There's a real possibility that Matt Corral could be sitting there at 16 or 19. And if you think he's the best quarterback in this draft, or you think he could be your franchise and you can get him in the middle of round 1, makes a lot of sense. What if Matt Corral slips and he's sitting there at 49? You certainly want to look him in the eye and know if that's someone that you want as a possibility to lead your franchise. So doing your due diligence is a big part of that. The other part of that is it could be a smokescreen, which is a big part of the draft. If there's a quarterback-needy team behind you that's sitting there thinking, okay, New Orleans could take the guy we want here, then you'd certainly love to have somebody else trade ahead of you to take that player sort of as a smokescreen. Then again, sometimes it happens where there's a player you really want, like what happened with Patrick Mahomes in 2017, and Kansas City jumped a spot ahead of New Orleans because they clearly knew they had a beat that the Saints were interested in Patrick Mahomes and they were going to draft him. So, good move by KC. Worked out for the Saints as well, of course. They got Marshawn Lattimore at 11, but still. So, for those reasons, it makes a lot of sense. But what if the Saints are legitimately interested in drafting Matt Corral? I have said numerous times that there is one player, one quarterback in this quarterback class that I would be okay with the Saints spending a first-round pick on, and it's Matt Corral. And I don't say that with a tremendous amount of confidence, y'all. Like, I like Matt Corral a lot. Now, in part, it's because I've gotten to sit there and talk to him twice at SEC Media Days, and I can't tell you that I know him well. I can't tell you like we're friends or anything like that, or I have this great read or this long-standing relationship. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not misrepresenting that. But when you sit at an event like that, and over the course of 4 days, you talk to or you hear from 14 head coaches and 3 players from each of the schools. So 14 coaches, 42 players, and literally hundreds of media members. It's hard to stand out. right? Like, it's hard to be the guy that stands out amid all of that noise over 4 days, and he did twice. Like, that's a guy, I get it, why when he gets in a huddle, dudes follow him. I get it. That part of it, like the leader, gamer part of it, the dude that was going to go play in the bowl game no matter what, the guy who against Tennessee has his ankle mangled, tapes it up, comes back and hobbles around and plays on it. Like, I get it. I get it. The big question I have, though, is if he can hold up in the NFL. And he's 6 feet tall, y'all. I mean, he's listed at 6 feet, 200 pounds. Like, I've stood next to the guy. He's about my height. Now, I carry the inner tube around my belly, which he doesn't. But he's basically like a really athletic me. I mean, if that makes any sense at all. Just for comp. Where, like, yesterday we talked about Carson Strong, who's 6'4", 215, right? Looks more like your prototypical NFL body. Now, I get the other argument. Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, shorter quarterbacks that are making it. I get it, okay? But one of the things about Matt Corral that made him so dynamic at Ole Miss was his ability to run the football, was his ability to extend plays. And yes, that's a big part of what the NFL is. I mean, we've seen Patrick Mahomes do it. Obviously, we've seen Josh Allen do it. Lamar Jackson has had the greatest season running for a quarterback we've ever seen, a besting record set by Mike Vick. But I look at Matt Corral, and in the last 2 seasons at Ole Miss, in the COVID season, which was shortened, obviously, he had 112 carries, and last year he carried it 152 times, average 4 yards a carry. But 152 carries, y'all. Last year at LSU, Ty Davis-Price had 211. I mean, you're talking about running back numbers, the amount of times he carried the football for Ole Miss. And I don't know if you can hold up in the NFL doing that. Now, throwing the football, I think he's fantastic. I think he can make all the throws, and I think he's a gamer. My concern with Matt Corral would be, can he hold up? I believe he's a good leader. I like his mobility, athleticism, arm strength, all that stuff. I wonder if he can hold up. That would be my sincere concern. If, and I don't know if this will be the case, but if Matt Corral is sitting there when the Saints pick at 49, I would be perfectly fine with them taking him there, because I think you might be drafting your franchise quarterback in round 2. And sometimes you may roll your eyes and say that'll never happen, but sometimes quarterbacks slide. I mean, we've seen guys like Jacob Eason and Matt Barkley, guys who at one point were considered first-round draft picks who slid into round 4. I mean, it happens every year in the draft. Guys slip, guys fall. I mean, you don't really know what's on a team's board until the draft unfolds. So we'll wait and see what happens with Corral. He's probably a late round 1, early round 2 guy. He's probably not there at 49. I would not be comfortable with the Saints taking any quarterback at 16 or 19, but I don't know what their board looks like. For me, and we've talked about this, and I'm going to continue to say it, because you were able to do a 2-year deal with Jameis Winston, you no longer have this intense pressure to figure out your long-term quarterback situation right now. You've got 2 years. If Jameis has a great season this year, tear up his 2-year deal and sign him to a 5-year extension. And then you don't worry about it. If Jameis really struggles this year, then obviously next year you don't have a first-round pick, but you can go into the 2023 season knowing after that year you are going to draft a quarterback. I mean, you have options. You don't have to force it with any of the guys in this draft class. But I'll continue to say, if there's one that I would be okay with, it would be Matt Corral. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.